Welcome back to Plain Jane Cooking, Chef Blackboy. I've been away forever. I wanted to try something new, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. And I'm gonna try to make birria tacos. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, so I'll put the spelling in here so you know what I'm saying. Traditionally, guajillo peppers are the pepper you would use. I like ancho chilies, so I'm gonna add anchos. I'm pretty sure you can use whatever chili you want. I don't like really hot chilies, but I want peppery and sweetness. We're gonna add cinnamon stick to that, and with all this here for garlic, onion, and tomato is really gonna make up our marinade slash consomme. And we're going with short ribs. It's about a half a rack of short ribs, so just around 3 pounds pre-cooked. So it should be just enough for me and my wife for tacos. A few other ingredients that you don't see here. We're gonna have some ginger paste. We're gonna use salt and pepper, of course. We're also gonna have ground cumin that we're gonna throw in to make up our marinade consomme. So we'll show you putting that together. So I cut our short rib down a bit. And one thing you'll hear people say sometimes is, use an inexpensive meat for this, or an inexpensive cut, maybe a ground chuck or something like that. Or maybe even inexpensive choice short ribs. But the cheaper your primary ingredient is, the lower quality it is, the lower quality the dish is gonna be. So we actually didn't go with choice. These are actually prime. And as you can see, there's a lot of intermuscular fat. We're gonna trim some of this top fat off because while we want the fat and we wanna use it, we have plenty of fat that's gonna render out. One of the reasons why we sliced it, to make sure we can get the intermuscular fat to render out into the sauce. And also we wanna make sure that we see what we got, and we got some good quality stuff here. So we're actually gonna start rendering this down once we have our sauce made up, and I'll show that to you here shortly. So here we have all our ingredients for our sauce, marinade, the consomme, rough cut. One of the things we're gonna do is we're gonna mash up the garlic, and like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna put in some ginger paste. And we'll actually add those two together, rough cut onions and tomatoes. And we have our peppers. What we're gonna do with our peppers is actually we're gonna just put them in a skillet with a little olive oil. And really we're just gonna toast them a little bit. You don't wanna fry them, just lightly toast them and get them ready to be hydrated once we have this put together. So now we have our peppers roasting. We're gonna do a little bit of our white onion. And we're gonna cook these white onions down until they're about translucent. Then we'll add our tomatoes and we'll dump all the rest of our ingredients in there. Now that we got our tomatoes and onions somewhat cooked down, we're gonna go ahead and add our chilies. And like I said, we toasted the chilies, but we didn't go too far with them. Made sure they sat down in the oil, and as you can see, they got a little bit of color on them, but we don't really wanna overdo it. Now what we're gonna do here is get these cooked off. And really we want to focus on getting them hydrated before we throw them in the blender. We're also going to add our other ingredients here. So we have our garlic and ginger paste. Put that all in there. We'll add our cinnamon. We have black pepper and kosher salt. You can't forget salt. And we don't have whole kernels of black pepper. That's what I would prefer to use, but we don't have it. So we're going to have to use regular black pepper. This is our cumin. And you don't need to measure anything for this. It's kind of all it tastes. This is just a marinade, so don't overthink how much you put of anything in there. I don't think you can go wrong with a bunch of cumin. It goes so well with beef, and it's kind of a Mexican staple. I guess the weird thing is the oregano going into a Mexican dish, but trust me, it's gonna make it better good. All right, so we're gonna let these cook down until you see them hydrate really good, and we'll take them over to the blender. So we are gonna dump this in the blender, and I have to admit, the smell, not what I expected. Not that it's bad, it's just not exactly what I expected. So we'll dump this in and blend it up, and we're going to throw our short ribs into our pot, add a little bit of water, and start the cooking process. So this is what's going to give us all the flavor in our birria tacos. So we're gonna dump this in the pot and get it cooking down. We're probably gonna go 3 or 4 hours until meat's falling off the bone. And then we're gonna pack this up overnight and get ready for good tacos tomorrow. So I didn't oil the pan or anything, but I did get the pan going. So we get some of that fat rendering immediately. Oh, before we throw our sauce in there, a couple of little small pieces here. Almost like braising it down somewhat. And then we'll take our birria sauce, like our consomme, pour that right in there. And that should start boiling immediately. We're gonna add a little bit of water to this. And we're just going maybe every 30 or 40 minutes we'll stir it. And I'll show you what the finished product looks like. So it went 4 hours, and here is our short rib minced up. It looks amazing. It tastes even better. So again, we're not going to make the tacos tonight. We're actually going to cover this up in plastic wrap overnight and let it set. And then we're going to brown it again tomorrow before we put it on our tacos. And here's our consomme. You can kind of see that red color that we get this on the birria taco. Should be really, really good. And you kind of see the fat starting to form at the top. Well, we're going to take that fat off, and we're actually going to cook our birria tacos in the fat that came off the beef. So it makes it amazing, gives it the red color. So we'll fast forward to tomorrow, and you guys will see good tacos. So we've made it to the next day, and as I mentioned, you can see the fat formed on the top. And we can just skim this off, and we want to preserve the fat, because that's what's going to make our tacos, our birria tacos, have that red color and that extra flavor. So we're not even going to use like olive oil or anything to cook them. We're going to use the fat. So we're going to skim all of this off, and then you can see our consomme there below. We're going to turn that into our dipping sauce. We're going to fire up a couple of these tacos and let you guys see what they turned out like. As I mentioned before, we're going to take a bit of our beef fat, and you see this stuff's pretty thick actually. We're going to throw it into our skillet. We'll let that cook down a bit. We're actually going to put our tortilla directly in it. Another thing we're doing simultaneously is the meat that we had from last night. And we're just going to warm it up a bit. You don't want to really re-cook it because it's already cooked really well. Just warm it up for the taco and break down some of the fat that's in that. And we're warming up our consomme too a little bit, so we'll have something to dip our birria taco in. So once this fat renders fully, we'll throw our tortilla in and build up our taco. Now, one of the things I did is you should use Oaxaca cheese. Surprisingly, here in Texas, I went to one grocery store and I couldn't find it, and I gave up pretty quickly. This is quesadilla cheese. The most important thing is you want it to be low moisture and something that has a low melting point, because you really want, this cheese is supposed to melt as a part of the dish. That's what's most important. So we're gonna let the outside of this bad boy toast almost until the point that you probably think it's burning, but it's not. And then we'll build our taco, put our meat in here that's actually already warmed up. And then we'll have some fresh chopped parsley and some fresh chopped white onion to add to this. It's perfect. That's exactly what you want. You can see the coloration, the flavor on the shell. We actually have our cheese melting also, but you want to get the shell toasted pretty good because it has to stand up to the dip in the consomme. But sorry, I'm filming with one hand. I couldn't show you exactly how I built the taco, so cooking and filming is a little tricky. I probably need to get a little tripod, but we'll flip it over here for you just so you can see. That shell is getting a little bit hard. You know, with corn, it tends to break quickly, so I don't mind cooking this a little bit longer than probably what you would think you need to. Again, remember, if you feel like it's burning, it's not. You can go pretty long on these corn shells. So here they are, all made up, and man, they look pretty good to me. So we're gonna add some fresh chopped parsley and some fresh chopped white onions. And I like onions, so we'll add a little bit more there. And then what we're gonna do is, like I said earlier, take the tacos and dip them into the consomme. And these tacos look amazing. I mean, the fat's all rendered out, super juicy without even using the consomme. But when you add that into it, it adds another layer of complexity and flavor. Ooh, man, it's hot. It's really, really good though. You guys gotta try this. Try your hands at making birria tacos. They're amazing and surprisingly easy to make. Enjoy. Chef Black Boy out.